Welcome to the Game of Life podcast, where we bring you inspiring softball stories, insightful tips from coaches and players, and explore how the game transcends its boundaries to become a metaphor for life. Whether you're a sports enthusiast, a casual fan, or someone just looking for inspiration, you're in for a treat. We'll unravel the tales that go beyond the scoreboard. Discover how perseverance and hard work on the field translates into resilience in your daily challenges. Learn about teamwork, leadership, and the unwavering spirit that fuels success, not just in sports, but in the game of life. Our last episode was about, do you want to be recruited? So we ended it by saying, if yes, well, then what's next? So you want to be recruited. Now what? Like, how do you talk to coaches? How do you approach things? How do you pick teams? How do you prepare yourself? I mean, I've never played. We've said that 1,000 times. So what's your thought process on that?
Yeah, I think it depends on what age you're at. So I think once you kind of start to have that initial I really like this, I want to play at the next level, the best thing you can do from an early age is just continue to get better. Like what I look at for most girls who want to play at the next level, like they just have this next level drive in them of I want to get better, self-determination, never satisfied, doesn't quit, like all of those things. I think when you start to get a little bit older, it becomes how much am I doing on my end to help myself? Am I just showing up to tournaments every weekend and hoping for the best? Or am I researching schools? Am I going to college camps? Am I emailing coaches often and frequently? Am I cheering on my teammates? Do I have a positive attitude? How do I handle adversity? How do I handle failure? I think just all that stuff. Am I putting in extra work outside of the weekends, or am I just showing up every weekend hoping for a different result? I think it's just all of that stuff, and I'm throwing a lot at you, but let's take it in whatever direction we want to go in with that.
There's so much there. I mean, listen, we come from a smaller area, but we were on a regional team that played nationally. We would come up against teams that have their own buses, that have 18 kids, that just have kids that run on a travel team. And if your goal is to get recruited, well, those things probably make sense, right?
Hmm.
Uh, I don't, I get frustrated when people start talking stats with travel players because there's no way to compare this stat to that stat to this stat. Uh,
What, you mean
I
college coaches don't look at Game Changer every other day?
no, yeah, because you and Jenna batted 1,000 with no errors.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't,
Every
I
summer.
yeah, I don't know what happened, you know. Uh, but again, this is where the water gets so muddied. Like, if you when I'm watching the College World Series, you'll see an Arkansas player batting 265. But would they bat 500 at Binghamton? Would they bat we don't know what the stats don't even matter. The stats are relevant to competing with your team and who's on the field. But
Right.
if you want to get recruited, I think what matters more than any of all this is just being at the highest possible level, competing in any way, shape, or form and role you can do to be seen.
Yeah, and I think, throughout the journey we've had, we actually have a pretty good connection of college coaches now, and we've been able to pick their brain and, have relationships with them. And I think the one thing about getting recruited, if a coach comes to watch you, they already know you're good.
Yeah.
They're looking for you to give them something else, some sort of intangible. Like, what type of player are you? And I've heard coaches say, I want to see you strike out so I can see what type of player I'm getting. So don't get me wrong. If a coach comes to watch you 3 times and you strike out in 9 at bats in a row, that's probably not the best scenario for you. But if a coach comes and you have a 1 for 3 day with a line drive up the middle, a pop fly to the outfield, and a strikeout, that's not make or break for your chances because most of the time, before a coach comes to watch you, you're emailing them, you send them video of T work. And I think what a lot of coaches look for, based on conversations I've had with them in my experience, is do you have potential, right? They look at your swing and say, I really like that piece. I really like that piece. I see how that one could get a lot better if they come work with us. And are you the type of player that's going to fit our culture? It's not, are you already perfect? Because, oh, I want you to come here and you're just going to stay the same all 4 years and you're going to help us thrive. Like, that's not how they look at stuff. Are you coachable? Like, how do you respond to your coaching staff? Like, are you nice to your teammates? Because coaches can teach you technical things when you get there. It's a lot harder for a college coach to bring you in and try to change everything about the person you are. Like, that's really, really hard to do.
I just watched a video recently of Patty Gasso, and
Hmm.
and she's like, when I go to a field, now granted, she's Oklahoma and she's gonna have the best of the best, but I want to think, I really want to break down what she said. She's like, I look at people, this is a game where we stand around more than we do anything.
Hmm.
So I want to see your energy and your body language when you're standing around. Like, do
Hmm.
you have that swagger when you come in? Do you have that it factor? And again, how you know that? I mean, that's probably what makes some coaches different than others. But
Yeah.
how do you react after you've struck out and then you go out in the field and you're standing around? Like,
Hmm.
show me that you're doing things where I'm like, this is high energy stuff no matter what's happening. And I want this person to play for me. And I think that's a really underestimated part of recruiting.
Well, I think too, like if you look at a player and I'm like, what if I said to someone like, hey, like there's three coaches here to watch you, sometimes they tense up. Like, do the opposite. Be weird. Like, be yourself. Because at the end of the day, that's what they're gonna get is the most authentic version of you on the field, whoever that is. I mean, I think it's important. You want to go to a place where like you can thrive for the player that you are and the person that you are. So as soon as you see a coach there, like be the loudest version of yourself that you can be, whatever that is. I'm not saying like physically
Right.
loud, but like let it out. Let out the player that you are because that's what they ultimately came there to see is something that they can't get from the video of you doing T work that you emailed to them.
And it's a great point. If they don't like that side of you, well,
It's okay.
perfect. That
Yeah.
then good thing you didn't go there. Like
Yeah.
there's gonna be a coach that likes that authentic side of you. There's gonna
Hmm.
be a coach that likes that vulnerable side of you. And you hit the nail on the head. If they're already there watching you, they're almost looking for a reason why not to have you now, more than looking for a reason why they should have you. So if you
Hmm.
just go do all the great things a teammate should do, you probably win regardless of what you do while you're actually hitting or fielding or pitching or catching.
And frankly, I think it's quite the reality check if you see a coach there and you feel like you have to act different.
Yes.
Like, what type of teammate are you being if you're like, oh wow, like I gotta make sure I'm cheering loud now and like supporting my team? It should be like that all the time. You should just be like, oh cool, they're here. Let me go show them what I got. And it's the same. So I think you can almost use it as a little sidebar here, but a reality check of like, hey, am I being the teammate that I want to be? And I know we talked about in, part one, last episode of kind of the way that college coaches structure their weekends when they come to a tournament, right? So they walk in, they're like, all right, I'm going to this game at 8, I'm going to this game at 10, blah, blah, blah. So it's so important for players to email schools often. And I think like the more you email them, the more they're going to see your name. Obviously, depending on your age, sometimes they can't respond or they won't respond. Um, but I think too, like some girls will email schools the day before their game and expect them to show up. Like they're making these plans
Yep.
weeks in
Already set.
advance. Like it's already set. So I think you have to, as a player, have to make sure you're doing this research early. And most showcases out there will put out a list of like schools that have been there in the past or schools that are coming. Or even if they're not going, let's say you're going to like a really good tournament, letting them know you're going and letting them know how you do is good because they know the caliber of the teams there,
Yep.
they know the competition. So just by telling them you're going, that's good too.
I hear a lot. Well, I want to be recruited and I want to play on a team, but I'm on a team with X amount of girls that are already recruited. And I say, well, I don't want to put the horse before or the cart before the horse. I'm going to ask you, why is it a good reason to be on a team where other girls have already been recruited? Because you've been
Yeah.
through it.
Yeah. So a few things come to mind. One, once a girl is recruited, that coaching comes and watches them a lot. It's not like, all right, we're recruited. See you when you get here, freshman year. Like, that's not how it works. They come to check up on you. They're watching you now too because you're on their team. And there's a lot of girls out there who you look at a college roster, and a lot of them played together and travel for this exact reason. I mean, it happened
More
to
so
me.
than people think. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
happened to me. One of my travel teammates and I played together at Binghamton. And I think it's just so, yeah, it's more often than you think, actually. Um, I think the other reason, the college coaching community is very close-knit. A lot of them know each other. And what happens behind the scenes is a coach might call up another coach and be like, hey, I know like you already have this position filled, but like I'm really looking for a shortstop still. Like I really need one. Maybe your name comes up, like because they've been at your games watching their other player who got recruited. I don't know. I'm not guaranteeing any of this, but like I wouldn't doubt that goes on behind the scenes because there's a lot of coaches who know each other.
Yeah. So I email said coach all the time, blah, blah, blah. They're set. I mean, it's a business. They have who they want. And all of a sudden their friend calls to say, do you know of any shortstop? Oh my gosh. Said person emails me all the time. I've
Great
watched her
kid.
play.
Yeah.
Great kid, high energy, blah, blah, blah. Like you just don't even like I said earlier, it's just that web. Everything's connected in so many ways. And at the end of the day, if you want to play, there's enough people that want to help you play, even if it's people that you don't go to the school you think you're going to go to.
Well, and I think too, like you never know who's watching. And I truly mean that. And I realize it more now that I've graduated because it's like, okay, what if you're playing in Colorado and someone's an alumni of the school you want to go to and they just came to watch and watched you have a crap attitude? Like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, or maybe I'm just gonna use an example. Let's say I went to X college and this coach is recruiting someone and they see that I follow them on social media. Maybe they'll call me up and ask me about you. Like it's such a small world and like you never know who's watching. That's why like be the best person you can be because it truly is going to help you by leaps and bounds. And I think all of that stuff, it's just so connected.
So, part one, we were talking about do you want to be recruited? And part two, we're talking about now what? I think you just can't stop building relationships.
Hmm. Hmm. And
How
I
about,
think
oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
no,
Go
I was
ahead.
gonna say it's like for me personally too, I got really frustrated in my recruiting journey because I was never like a stat leader. Like I never stood out from like, you go get your measurements done. Like my V arm overhand velo wasn't the fastest. My running speed wasn't the fast. Like they were all good, but I was never like top. When, a coach came to watch me play, I wasn't hitting home runs, but I was getting a hit almost every game. Like I was very consistent and I'm like, how the heck am I gonna get recruited if a coach comes to watch me once and like I'm a consistent player? Like I'm a singles doubles hitter. That's how I saw myself. And you really just have to trust the process because that coach did end up coming multiple times and did end up seeing that. So I think it's just like don't get down on yourself for the player that you are because like we've said a bunch of times in this two episode series, there is a place for everybody and you're going to be valued for exactly the skill set that you have.
Yeah, and in that case, I mean, you went to Binghamton and they went and saw you a few times, but we don't even know the coaches that maybe saw you multiple times that might have pulled the trigger and asked you or offered you that didn't happen because once you went to Binghamton, it's over. So
Yeah.
it's easy to look back and say, oh, this person was tracking me, this college wanted me. You don't even know the schools that may have asked you a month later or 2 weeks later. And that's why you just have to trust the process.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to emails, like there's like we said, there's usually a list of like coaches that have gone in the past. Sit down at least like a month before your tournament and just look through the schools. Like Every school has an athletics website. Every school has a softball page on their athletics website that shows you like their record in the past. It has like an about page of their program. It shows you who the coaches are. It shows you who the team is, where are most of the girls from, right? Like I think use an example like, okay, I'm looking at a school in California and every single girl on their roster is in state from California. Okay, maybe I'm from New York. Take it as you will. Like what,
Right,
just
right.
do your research of like, oh, I remember I'd make a list. I'd have like the school, it'd be like size of the school, location, does it have my major, yes or no, and then an overall like interested, yes or no. And like it wasn't something like that but those were just like the
Right.
questions I asked. I'm like distance from home, and you just go down the list, and then at the end I'm like, okay, like I have 6, 7 targeted schools that I'm gonna email. Like it just seems way less daunting in your head to do it like that. But I think what some girls do is they look and they're like, never heard of it, never heard of it, never heard of it. Oh, Penn State, I know them. Okay. Look at those like mid-major schools too, because there's a lot of opportunity there. And maybe I'm being too blunt, but like that,
No,
I do think those things happen.
there's so much opportunity everywhere. And I'll go back to the 7% that go on to play. A lot of that's not based on talent. A lot of that's based on preparation, doing your research, and your persistence and consistency in trying to find a home.
Hmm.
So there's people that don't play that are obviously good enough. But you know, when we travel, we go to airport, when we were traveling, whether we were driving or in airports, we would always look at each other and like, man, there's just so many people that play the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So many people.
Hmm.
And so again, do you want to get recruited? And now what do you do? You have to be persistent and consistent and trust the process and do tons of research.
Well, that goes back to why I said a maybe is a no. Because when you think about
Right.
like how many girls are just saying yes and putting themselves out there, that's why, I kind of lean that way. And the other thing I want to touch on, we haven't necessarily talked about, is we talk about, like on the field, what coaches look for to get recruited. The other thing is like, how do you treat your family after the game? Let's say I have a horrible game. I'm 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts, and I go and you say to say something to me and give me a hug, and I'm just like, stop. Like, and I just walk right by you. Coaches look at that stuff because I've
Yes,
heard
they
college
do.
coaches say before, like, we're recruiting you and your family. Like, how do you interact with them? Because that's like a telltale sign of how you treat the people that you care about. Because when you get to be part of a team, how do you treat the people you care about when you don't do well? So I think just all that stuff. My number one pet peeve, please never have someone else carry your bag ever. I don't care how old you are. Don't do it. Just please, for the love of, just don't.
Even in
Don't
even
do.
in the air even in the airport.
No. No, if it's your stuff, carry it. Like, under no circumstance whatsoever would I ever have gone up to you and be like, hey, I'm really tired from my game. Can you carry my softball bag to the car? Like, no.
Well, under no circumstances would I have ever done that. We
Well,
would have left it at the field, and then the next day you wouldn't have had equipment, and you would have retired from softball.
I'm
I mean,
just
it's
saying
just
when you talk about stuff where a coach would cross a name off a list, that has nothing to do with your skill level or the teammate you are, but like right away, crossed off the list.
yeah.
That like irks
I'll
me.
go buy you the food you want. I'll go buy you the ice cream, whatever. But when we get to that car, you're carrying your own damn stuff. Like that's just
Yeah.
how it works. So
Yep. There it is.
I want to pivot to another question. Uh, what about camps? What about going to the camps of the colleges that you potentially want to play for?
Yeah, I've been talking about this to a few athletes. So I think going to targeted ones is a really good idea for a few reasons. So like let's say you have your eye on the school, you're, in high school and they offer a camp for, the other thing is these things have costs. So that's why you want to make sure like you're going for a good reason. Definitely go because you get to meet a lot of the players too. Like they're the ones instructing you. You see how the team interacts with each other. You see how the team interacts with the coaching staff. You get to see the facilities. But I think the biggest thing is you get to kind of like do a self comparison to the other girls there. And most of the time at these camps, there's a girl or two who are already committed, who are just at the camp to like continue that relationship with the team and the girls. And like you can look at them and be like, okay, like that's the type of player they're looking for, or that's like the type of girl they're recruiting. And I think there's a lot of value in that. I think the other thing, and there's times this happens, is you go to one of those camps and you're like, whoa, like I got some work to do after that. Like maybe you're a freshman who went and you're like, oh wow, like this is where I need to get to. It's just a good perspective shift. I think there's some other ones where, sometimes you get somehow get on a mailing list and it's like, congratulations, you've been, accepted into this camp. Like, do your research on them because some of them are legit and some of them are awesome. Okay, I clicked on the link and it says these 10 coaches are going for X fee. It's in this location. This is what I'm going to get from it. Do I get to meet players? Do I get to chat with coaches? What am I going to get from it? And I think go down the list of colleges and be like, am I interested in any of these? Yes or no? Because I think sometimes like we just get an email and we're like, oh my gosh, yay. Like I remember I got an email from a school, like my first one ever, and I was like, oh my gosh. And my mom was like, Allie, like they don't even have your major. And I was just like so excited. Like, and I get it, but just do your research first too.
Well, and if there's not that personal relationship, in my opinion, I think it's very hard to get seen at a camp.
Yeah, it depends. It can be, I think it depends on what level you're at. Like if you're a
Mm,
freshman and you want to go, I think the dialogue becomes like, wow, they stood out to me and they're only a freshman. Like it becomes that. I think it is a little harder if you're a junior and you've never emailed the coach before and you've never done anything and you show up. It's like, okay, you really have to stand out to catch their eye, to your point.
I don't know if you want to, I mean, do you remember you went to one camp and you lit it up and supposedly, well, we knew in hindsight the pitcher that you lit it up against was already recruited at that camp.
Yep.
And there were no emails, there were no calls, there were no nothing. And
Nothing.
so that's why I said it doesn't mean it wasn't worth it to you, and it doesn't mean it didn't lead to other things. But
Yeah.
I feel like when I've in my later years, looking back now, kids go to camps and say they did very well. I'm thinking to myself, nobody in that camp is charting your stats for the day.
No, well, to your point, I think it has to be consistency. Like that shouldn't be your first and last interaction with them. It should be, oh, like they've given me some sort of like, oh, I like what you're doing, or like, whatever, personal invitation, like something. Because yeah, to your point, it's like, okay, you can go for half a day and kill it. And I do remember what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
I
And
don't want to say the school,
no,
it
no, no,
doesn't
we don't
matter.
need to.
You know,
But yeah, it's just sometimes you're like, well, what the heck? Like, what do I got to
yeah,
do
what's
then?
happening. And I think too many parents and players uh, focus on that so much. Oh, they were because they always do the live scrimmages. Oh, they were 2 for 3 with 2 doubles.
It does not
Nope,
matter.
nobody's
Yeah.
tracking that. You know what? You had 2 doubles. Nobody may have been paying attention that it was actually the same girl that had the 2 doubles.
I mean, I've heard stories of girls like they start going to camp as an eighth grader. They go every
That
single year,
yes,
every fall and every spring, and now
yeah,
it's like the coach knows you on a first name basis and like, wow, you're getting better. Wow, like
yes.
that's strategic. So if you have
If
like
you
a
start early, you have to
yeah.
start early.
But
Yes,
so that's why I'm like, if you ever reach school, do that. Like, go do
yeah.
that. Or if you have a school you really like. But that's to my point when it's like you're in 10th grade and you're like, I don't know what I want to do. Like, you don't even have the option to go do this stuff anymore. Like, you don't have the option to start early. So,
No, I good. Any closing thoughts?
no, I'll just say for all the girls out there who are like 100% yes, you want to play, I promise you it is worth it. It is worth doing. I
Yes.
know we're talking about like the struggles of it, but like, it's so worth it. Like, if you love the game, it's amazing. And I truly think, like, you get what you give. There's a place for everybody. So just keep working hard, keep doing what you're doing. And Obviously, we don't have all the answers, but like always happy to answer any questions because I think sometimes it does feel like a little isolating when you're doing it, or like you start to look at your teammates who are like, well, they're already recruited. Like, what am I doing wrong? And all this stuff. You are the only person meant to walk the journey that you walk. So it just sometimes yours is a little more rocky than other people's. So
No, that's very good. I mean, there's just so many people that play, and there's not a lot of spots, so you really have to want it. And to any high school girls out there, it's okay to say openly you want to play at the next level. Like that's okay. And I don't know where that will fall, but that's step one. And now let's go figure it out.
And I'll end with this. It's easier to change your yes to a no than it is to change your no to a yes.
Mm.
So if you're a maybe, I'd go with a yes to set yourself up in a position to like have it as an option if you want. But if you're a no that becomes a yes, it's a lot harder.
Now I'm gonna say my last 2 cents. I had a conversation recently where I don't know if I want to play. I'm like, well, if you go to college and don't play, you'll probably never play, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, you don't just wake up and say, you know what, next semester I'm going to try out for the softball team.
Yeah.
If you go to school playing, you can always stop. And that goes back to what our travel coach said when we were younger. Now you're done on your terms. And I think that's the most important part.
Yeah. Well, I no, we're done. Okay.
All
I'm good.
right. Hey, until next time.
All right. See ya.